Good morning. My name is Gwendolyn Mason, and I am the Acting Associate Superintendent for the Office of Special Education. On this beautiful Saturday morning, I am absolutely delighted that we have the opportunity as an entire community, Montgomery County Public Schools, our special education staff members, and most importantly, our parents and community partners to discuss and learn about wonderful things that will help us in the field of special education. I want you to know that about a little more than 8 years ago, there was a meeting with the Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee co-chairpersons at that time. And as we talked, we began to envision the opportunity to provide a forum that would allow parents and MCPS staff members and our community partners to come together to learn more about special education so that we could continue to improve our relationships and, most importantly, our practices to address the needs of students with disabilities. Here we are some 8 years later, and I never imagined having the opportunity to join the summit again. So today, I'm especially honored to be a part of this event. I would like to thank Philip Lynch and his team for preparing today's presentation. I would like to thank the Special Education Advisory Committee members and other parents who may be involved in the planning of today's event. And most importantly, I would like to also pay homage to all of those in our school system who continue to contribute to special education in our district. Today's theme is Leading the Way Today, Planning for a Better Tomorrow. And that continues to be the goal that we want to achieve as we partner. I want to thank you all so very, very much for this wonderful opportunity to greet you. And I hope that today continues to be an example of the wonderful partnership that we will forge as we work together to improve special education. Please have an enjoyable day. And also, I'm also delighted to say that I'm so happy that Dr. Patricia Crain de Galarce is joining us today as our keynote speaker. I know we will learn so much from her presentation. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Philip Lynch. I'm the Director of Special Education Services for Montgomery County Public Schools. I'd like to welcome all of our participants, and I'd also like to thank the committee for putting this wonderful morning together. I'd like to also thank our co-chairs, and I want to take a moment to explain to give our interpreters an opportunity to explain the interpretation services that are available. So let's start with our Spanish interpretation. If that interpreter is able to provide instructions on how to access the interpretation services, we will go through the languages.
Buenos días y bienvenidos a esta presentación. Para español, oprima el globo en su computadora y escoge el español. El icono cambia al español. Si está usando un teléfono celular, oprima el globo, escoja internet para el audio y luego los 3 puntitos para seleccionar español. Muchas gracias.
Dominique, if you could explain your services.
Bonjour, afin d'avoir accès à l'interprétation française, veuillez cliquer sur le petit globe qui est en bas de l'écran et choisissez la langue de votre choix, à savoir le français.
Rahel, if you could explain your services.
ጤና ይስጥልኝ እንደምን አደራችሁ እንኳን ለዚህ ስብሰባ በሰላም መጣችሁ በዛሬ ስብሰባ የአማርኛ ከእንግሊዘኛ ወደ አማርኛ ትርጉም አገልግሎት አዘጋጅተናል ይህንን የትርጉም አገልግሎት በኮምፒውተራችሁ በቀኝ በኩል የዓለም ቅርጽ አለች እሷን ተጭናችሁ ከእንግሊዘኛ ወደ አማርኛ የሚለውን የትርጉም አገልግሎት እንድትጠቀሙ እየጋበዝን መልካም የስብሰባ ቀን እንዲሆንላችሁና ስለመጣችሁ በጣም እናመሰግናለን
Thank you. And our Portuguese interpreter.
Bom dia. Por favor, vocês devem ver que na parte de baixo da tela tem um globo. Se vocês clicarem sobre o globo, vocês poderão escolher o idioma de sua preferência. No caso, se for português, é só clicar sobre português. Muito obrigada.
Again, welcome to all of our participants. Thank you for the
Então,
committee
sejam bem-vindos.
for putting this wonderful morning together. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Vittoria Aiello.
Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Vittoria Aiello, and I am a co-chair of the Special Education Advisory Committee. I would like to take a few moments to thank everybody from MCPS staff for organizing this wonderful and informative event. Special thanks to Mr. Philip Lynch, the Director of Special Education Services, and Dr. Mason, Gwendolyn Mason, our Associate Superintendent. Thank you so much. And Jennifer Strobel and Mary Rose Catena, thank you. I also would like to thank all the presenters, and I am pleased to introduce our keynote speaker, Mrs. Patricia Crain de Galarce. Thank you so much for being with us today. Mr. Galarce is Associate Dean in the Graduate School of Education at Lesley University and Director of the Center for Inclusive and Special Education, a center dedicated to supporting educators, families, and communities in meeting the needs of all learners. Mrs. de Galarce's focus is equity in education. She began her career as an elementary, bilingual, and special education teacher, and has taught almost every grade level, from young children to graduate students in Massachusetts, Washington, D.C., and Paraguay, South America. For 12 years, Mrs. de Galarce has led the Stokes School, an inclusive dual language immersion elementary school in D.C., as the Director of Education and Principal. Mrs. de Galarce, thank you very much for being with us this morning. And thank you, everybody, again.
Thank you. So let us begin leading the way today and partnering for a better tomorrow. My name is Patricia Crain de Galarce, and I'm so honored to be here with all of you this morning. Today's topic of partnering for a better tomorrow is really so timely. And this community is ready. Can you imagine? We will have over 400 parents here at the summit. Thank you for spending your morning with me. I want to thank Montgomery County Public Schools for inviting me, Dr. Mason, Mr. Lynch, Miss Aiello, and Jennifer Strobel, Jenna Landy, and the whole committee for inviting me this morning. I noticed that on the websites, students' well-being and family engagement are listed as strategic goals. It's so impressive. And to see that the core values of MCPS reads, we believe that meaningful collaboration is vital for our success. Strong partnerships are built on trust and open and honest communication. And building relationships with our diverse community requires us to understand the perspectives and experiences of others. It continues. We believe that each individual's contributions add value to our learning community. Fair treatment, honesty, openness, and integrity are essential. And the diversity of our culture, interests, skills, and backgrounds is an asset that makes us stronger. I also had the opportunity to meet some of you last week at the Special Education Advocacy Committee. There were over 100 parents represented. What an amazing community, so ready to lead the way. And I am excited to be here with all of you. You have important stories to share, and today I would like us together to draft the next chapter. My hope for our time together is, 1, to explore the impact of COVID for students and families. 2, to find strength from our family stories, and 3, to reimagine our relationships with school. As we move on throughout this morning's storytelling, I'd like us to take a moment, get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and while you're up, grab a piece of paper and a pen or pencil so that we're ready to begin drafting a new chapter. Which word best describes your feeling at this very moment about living in a pandemic and in turbulent times? Grab your coffee, fill in the poll, get a piece of paper and a pen. In this group, we have many hopeful and many worried parents and guardians. Thank you. The pandemic has disrupted our routines, our schedules. It's been so unpredictable. The trauma we have lived through has often felt overwhelming and isolating. Many of us lost loved ones, jobs, sleep, stability. The COVID-19 pandemic is a traumatic event that has led to increased anxiety and stress for everyone, but especially our children and young people who have had their lives turned upside down by the crisis. The EDGE research conducted a study of over 3,500 parents, and their survey asked the question to find out, what is it that keeps parent up at night? It turns out that parents all around the world are more worried about their children missing important social interactions at school than someone in their family getting the coronavirus. We have seen an increase in mental health issues among children and young people. Children and young adults report feelings of stress, of loneliness, of worry, of boredom, of feeling trapped. In another poll, more than 2/3 of young people found not seeing their friends as upsetting. We know that childhood trauma or adverse childhood experience can have lifelong impacts on children's mental health, on their ability to learn, on their behaviors, and on their relationships. Special education students, along with their families, have faced uniquely complicated challenges during the pandemic. Although research says one-on-one time with parents has increased, what parents and children do together has shifted. So the reading of books has decreased, and the having fun playing together has also decreased. Missing social contacts and altering routines, disturbed sleeps, and eating habits can be particularly intense for the kids with developmental challenges. When our heart aches, the brain cannot focus. I would like to share some quotes of parents surveyed when COVID shut down everything. I have 2 children with ASD and one has OCD, my eldest. He's beside himself, constantly washing. He was sure he was going to die. He uses a bottle of hand sanitizer a day. He has irrational thinking, has become even more aggressive, and curls up repeating, "I'm scared. I'm just scared." Another parent writes, I worry I'm not doing home education correctly and that my child will fall even further behind at school due to my failings. Our entire support network has been taken away from us, including family. I am a single parent of twins, both who have complex learning difficulties, and the thought of having to manage alone fills me with dread. Another. His world has been turned upside down. No school, no church, no music lessons, no karate, no seeing friends and family. He doesn't understand why. The lack of structure and routine of school has meant that she is more anxious, hyper, and lashing out. B will not attempt schoolwork. My son is crying all the time and said he cannot handle all of this. He started talking to people who are not there. I have felt completely unprepared for the reality of dealing with her 24/7 without any support or respite, as her behavior is extremely challenging and she can become very physical. Last night, he said he wanted to die, but couldn't say why. He misses school terribly, and this shows in his behavior, which I'm struggling with. He throws any object he can get his hands on and throws it across the room. He bites himself and me, screams and cries and runs around the house. My child has started stimming constantly and now has constant violent outbursts and started having night terrors. I feel like I'm drowning and nobody can see me. I can honestly say I have never been stressed or felt this overwhelmed before. I am having trouble breathing and filling my lungs, no matter how many deep breaths I take. There's so many reports of addiction to media coverage, preoccupation over what's going to happen next, feeling uncertain, loss of safety, changes in health behaviors, and increased emotionality, such as grief, rage, fear, helplessness, and pessimism. I'd like to take a few minutes to capture our stories. If you get that blank piece of paper and divide it into 3 parts, almost like a peace sign, in this first part of the 3-part story of today, I would like you to think about your experiences. What is it like for you, your family? And what did you do to survive? There are no wrong answers. This is just for you. You can brainstorm in words, in phrases, in pictures. I'm just going to give you a few minutes to capture your thoughts. I hope that your story helps illustrate how you face the COVID challenges head on and reminds you of your strength and your resilience. We hold our emotions in our body. So at this moment, I'd like you to notice where you might be feeling some pain or tightness in your body. No one can see you. So let's all just shake it out a little bit. Take a couple of deep breaths. Let's regain some balance. We know our neural pathways of empathy are the same pathways as depression. We know that social exclusion and isolation hurts using the same brain responses as physical pain. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor who went on to become a world-famous psychologist, says, an abnormal reaction to an abnormal situation is normal behavior. There is nothing normal about this pandemic. There's nothing normal about school shootings, the murder of George Floyd, or this global pandemic. There are some wonderful stories and books about how to survive trauma, how to gain resilience, and how to thrive. This book is actually a true story of the survival of a 15-year-old girl, Stella, from Uganda. And it uses the African proverb, when elephants fight, the grass gets trampled. The children are often the innocent victims of elephants fighting. In Uganda, in the Ukraine, in Texas. I'm sure you've heard the story of Kasirian Injera. Kasirian Injera is how the Maasai people of Kenya greet each other. Kasirian Injera means, how are the children? The Maasai believe when the children are well, then the society is well. So I'm asking all of us, I'm asking you, how are the children? Are they well? I'm also going to ask you, why go back to normal? Everyone keeps saying, can't wait till we get back to normal. Well, was normal what we want to get back to? The challenges over the last few years had led to really creative solutions and some new understandings. We learn from watching as learning happened in our living rooms, in our kitchens, in our bedrooms. This is actually a unique moment in history where we can harness this community's resilience, reconnect, keep creative, build new understandings, and learn from each other. John Shu just wrote 2 new books, The Gift of Story and This is School. About in the middle, I'm sharing these pages because it captures for me where we are today in this particular time and space. How are the children? Are they still learning, caring, hoping, and healing? I want us to take a moment and think about the lessons learned. And to do this, we have to let go, and almost like you're in a hot air balloon, and look down at the last 2 years, look down at yourself, your family, the school, and think about the lessons that you learned. In some surveys I've heard, I've learned to be more gentle with myself. It's a great lesson. Another, In a lot of ways, things have been easier. I don't feel like I have to push my child into doing activities and day trips just to keep up with everyone else, as she always finds these struggles, especially noise-wise. Another. His anxiety is much less than normal. He is no longer daily tortured about going to school. Another, having not had to deal with the outside world for so long, her stress levels have dropped. She generally feels happy and safe. Another says, I know both of my kids' teachers in a way I haven't before. We're in communication more than ever. Another says, our partnership with school has been even stronger. My child feels more plugged into what's going on. Then I have had teachers report that students who usually have very difficult time looking directly at people's faces find it so much easier to do so through the computer screen. We have their eyes looking right at us, and it's not painful for them. It's beautiful. So, what have we learned? What are the creative solutions that we can gather together? Take a moment and fill out the second section of this graphic organizer. What have you learned? What do you want to hold on to? Keep writing as I continue. The essential question before COVID conjures up a picture of static roles, rigid boundaries, and hierarchies of power between families and schools. It does not embrace the contradictions embedded in productive, symmetric relationships. It misses the essential ingredients of empathy and respect that define successful parent-teacher encounters. This is a great opportunity to become partners in education, to think about it as a shared responsibility for the children, education, well-being, because it puts a question mark on what is going to happen. Paulo Freire says, the education I speak about is an education of now, and it is an education of tomorrow. It is an education that must set us permanently on question and remaking our inquiry of ourselves. That education for freedom, the education linked to human rights, in that perspective, has to be encompassing, totalizing. It has to do with critical knowledge of the real and with the joy of living. Dare to dream. Let's dare to dream. Let's dare to dream while we draft our next chapter together. The impossible is becoming possible. As we stand in the midst of a world crisis, those of us who can dream must dream. And after we dream, we must demand and act. Bettina Love. The opportunity is now. I have witnessed such innovative teachers. I have seen student resilience. I have witnessed, engaged, activated parents like all of you this morning. In this study, parents are much more likely to get a better understanding of what is expected to learn at grade level and to find more time to talk to children about their assignments. And because of COVID, they're much more likely to develop stronger relationships with their children's teachers than in the past. This crisis really breeds innovation. There was a survey of 152 parents about learning in pods during COVID and found their children felt known, heard, and valued. I love that statement. They felt known, heard, and valued, followed by an increased engagement in their learning. We can help facilitate knowing our children for their well-being, their health, their hope, so that they feel known and heard and valued. So let's take a moment and think for the future. How can we reimagine relationships with school? Rebuild trust after trauma of the last few years. What can you imagine? Take a little moment and fill out the third part of the circle to complete our morning's new chapter. I would keep writing if you have more ideas. I know this is a very hopeful group. And I would like to hold your intentions, what you wrote, and share a practice with you of love and kindness. So if you are comfortable, you may close your eyes. And if you want to repeat out loud or to yourself each phrase after me. So let's start with a deep breath and a slow exhale. Repeat after me. May you be safe and protected. May you be free from inner and outer harm. May you have ease and peace. May you be happy and healthy. May you be well and whole to whatever degree possible. May you live with joy. Let's take another deep breath in. And out. If it helps, you can put your warm hands over your eyes. And repeat after me. We hope your children are safe and protected. We hope your children are free from inner and outer harm. We hope your children have ease and peace. We hope your children are happy and healthy. We hope your children are well and whole. We hope your children live with joy. And because I'm just fascinated with this book and am a teacher at heart, I would like to end our time together with the poem by Amanda Gorman. As we rewrite the next chapter, Amanda will inspire us. Change sings. I can hear change humming in its loudest, proudest song. I don't fear change coming. And so I sing along. I scream with the skies of red and blue streamers. I dream with the cries of tried and true dreamers. I'm a chant that rises and rings. There is hope where my change sings. Though some don't understand it, those windmills of mystery, I sing with all the planet and its hills of history. I hum with 100 hearts, each of us lifting a hand. I use my strengths and my smarts. Take a knee to make a stand. I'm bright as the light each day brings. There is love, my change sings. I show others tolerance, though it might take some courage. I don't make a taller fence, but fight to build a better bridge. I talk not only of distances from where and how we came, I also walk our differences to show we are the same. I'm a movement that roars and springs. There's a wave where my change sings. Change sings where? There, inside me. Because I'm the change I want to see. As I grow, it grows like seeds. I'm just what the world needs. I'm the voice where freedom reigns. You're the love your bright heart brings. We are the wave starting to spring, for we are the change we sing. We're what the world is becoming, and we know it won't be long. We all hear change strumming. Won't you sing along? Thank you very much.
I'd like to take a minute to thank our speaker for ending on that wonderful, hopeful note, and let folks know that we will have a break until 10 o'clock when our sessions start. You should have received a email message from Ms. Strobel sharing the program with you that shares the different sessions. I apologize for the challenge that we had with our camera during this opening session. That will not be the case for those other sessions. The cameras will be available and you will see our presenters. Those sessions again will start at 10 o'clock, and you also have a link in the chat to those sessions if you had not seen that email. So we look forward to you all joining those sessions at 10 and having a wonderful remainder of your morning. Again, thank you to our speaker this morning, and thank you again to all of those folks who helped to put today together. We wish you the best for the remainder of your morning. Thank you.